Hello and welcome to my 2021 bullet journal setup. I think we can all agree that 2020 has been a year. I am so glad it'll be over soon, and I am more than ready for a new year and hopefully a new start as well. I am also super excited because I get to start a new journal. I have been using the bullet journal method for 4 years, almost 4 years now, but I have been using it throughout the school year. So I started it in September and I finished it in August. But this year I am out of school and I'm starting it in January, and it feels much more like an actual new beginning, and that seems fitting. As you can see, I am setting up my key on the inside of the cover of the journal. Since I've been bullet journaling for quite some time, as I mentioned, I don't really need to refer back to it. I know all the symbols and their meaning, but a new bullet journal setup would just feel incomplete without a key. Moving on to my cover page. This year I decided to go for a rather minimalistic look. I am just writing the year 2021 in bubble letters, and I am outlining them. And below that I'm just writing the quote, "Here's to new beginnings." Then I am setting up my grid spacing cheat sheet. This spread is super useful. It's basically a guide for dividing the page in halves and thirds and quarters and so on. And instead of counting the dots on a page each time I try to set up a new spread, I could just simply refer back to this page. I first saw this in Amanda Rach Lee's Plan With Me's, but I know tons of other people have done it as well, and I really do not know who originally came up with that idea. Throughout this setup, you're going to notice that the lighting and also my nail polish is going to change a bit, and that's due to the fact that this was not filmed in one setting. I do not have the time to set my whole journal up at once, and since it's winter, the sun goes down at like 5 p.m. and it's really difficult to get good lighting. So you're going to see me struggle quite a bit with the lighting. On the right side of this page, I am setting up my year at a glance spread. This is a tedious task, but it's so rewarding. I really enjoy having an overview over all the months of the year, and I refer back to this spread a lot, especially when I'm setting up my monthly logs. I also was kind of super proud because I practically made no mistakes. Yes, that one time in March I wrote 30 instead of 29, but overall that spread turned out really well. That turned out to be my hubris speaking, because I made all the more mistakes in my next spread. That next spread is my future log. As you can see, I am using a vertical layout. I tried the original layout with the mini calendar on one side of the page and a little bit of empty space on the other side where you can jot down the dates and events, but I found that it didn't really work for me. I always seemed to run out of space. This is where I made my first mistake. Instead of writing an F for February, I wrote an E. So I guess the second month of the year has been officially renamed February. Now I'm going in with a light grey Tombow to highlight every Saturday. The Sundays are highlighted in a darker shade. Even though I was referring to my year at a glance, I still managed to mess up. I highlighted the wrong days in March. Luckily, that was with the light grey, so it's not as noticeable, but I'm still a bit mad. On the next page, I'm doing the exact same thing with the other 6 months of the year. And after that, I went back to the previous page and corrected the mistake with a white gel pen. Now I am setting up a spread for all the birthdays. I found that writing them into the future log overcrowds the whole spread, so I started to use a separate one. For this, I just drew a circle in the middle of the page and a slightly smaller circle inside of it. I then divided that space into 12 sections for the 12 months. Then I drew these arms branching out, at the end of which I am going to write the dates and the names of those who have their birthdays there. And in the middle I wrote birthday calendar. I have been doing this circular setup for 3 years now, and I still love the way it looks, especially filled in with the pastel rainbow colors. I also set up a goals spread. I felt like I really needed to collect my thoughts and hopes for this coming year and sort them into categories. So I drew boxes for different aspects of my life, like relationships or social media or health. And I'm going to fill them in with my goals and resolutions. I also had a resolutions list for 2020, but apart from the fact that this year did not go how I planned it, I didn't divide them into categories, and I think that could be super useful for me now. I also added a box for my word of the year. I've never done this before, but I'm excited to try it out. On the next page, I am setting up a spread that I call Erbsenzählen. I saw this in a friend's bullet journal and I absolutely loved the concept. The idea is to write down all the moments and memories you make, especially the small ones that are likely to be forgotten. Write down the time you went for ice cream with your best friend or when you baked a cake together. It really is counting the peas, which is what Erbsenzählen means in German. Then I did a themes of 2021 spread. I drew 12 boxes in which I will draw the themes of each month, so that at the end of the year I have an overview over all of them. Next, I made a spread where I can write down stuff I want to check out. I divided that by categories: books, series, films, and musicals. This year and the years before that, I had a whole page for each of these categories, but I realized I didn't need all that space and I didn't fill up that spread. So I condensed them into a 2-page spread. On the next page, I am setting up a things I want and gift ideas spread where I can just simply write down when I have ideas so that I don't forget them. And on the other side, I am just simply writing the title theme ideas where I can jot down any ideas I have for possible themes for any upcoming months. And that is it for my setup. Here is my final flip through. I really enjoyed setting this up. It's pretty minimalistic and neutral, but I like that. I'm planning to use these spreads in the beginning of the bullet journal for the whole year, which is why I didn't want a theme for them. I wanted them to be kind of universal, I guess. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe to my channel. This is my very first YouTube video and I'm both nervous and kind of proud of myself for doing something I thought about for a while now. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day and may the new year be gentle to all of us.